Hello guys and welcome back. This is of course Mr. Siege. Now as you can tell by the thumbnail, I wanted to do like a mid-KVK update, how things are going. Now you've seen a load of fighting we've had, well, or you may have done if you watched the last couple of videos. You know, I got swarmed as well, and yeah, it's been such a fun KVK so far, even though we expected it to be a farming KVK. Fire said they weren't going to come and fight, they weren't happy with the matchmaking, and basically the allies we'd picked and were decided. Although, yeah, that wasn't Fire's decision, they didn't want that, and you may have seen those videos in the matchmaking stuff. It was a bit of a nightmare. So Fire said they weren't going to fight, and as far as I was aware, Wind weren't going to fight too, but that's not been the case. So we had a ton of fighting for this zone, and as you can see here, we actually came out on top. Now, Fire Camp were so much better than us in terms of KP and power as well. We were the third best camp in this KVK. So kind of crazy that we've actually locked Fire in now. And I don't know how much they went all out this KVK. I'm not sure they did, but some people did invest in tech in Fire Camp. I know a lot from 3379 did, because I saw their troops on the field. I fought against them, and they invested a decent amount because, you know, they had so many more troops than I did a lot of the time, and obviously I'm a very low spender, so I don't actually, you know, spend on crystal tech at all. So we won Fire Camp, and that was mad for a start. We did so well unexpectedly. For me, I didn't expect it, to be fair. Others may have done, I don't know. But then we decided to take on Wind over here, who had a free zone. We were locked down. They had two forts over here, and we basically fort dropped right the way over here next to the enemy pass, and this Aaron over here, Aaron of Steel for the troop defense. Even though I think we've actually got the troop defense one from over here. I don't know. Let's just go have a look. What's this one? Yeah, we've got that true defense one, so I don't know if that actually counts, or if maybe if a different coalition owns this one, then that does help. And, you know, we're literally just burning them out of the zone now. We had a little bit of a fight. Now, we know that 3060 were kind of like a deadweight Imperium Kingdom, but they did put up a decent enough fight. I think we had the best fight was against 44 over here. I don't know what actually a kingdom this is. It's like a Korean kingdom by the looks of it. I'm not sure exactly what the kingdom number is. But they gave us a good fight because we did put another fort down here, and obviously we burnt flags and then built round. We're obviously going to take this Tempest Sanctuary over here. They've just given up now. There's no more fighting. Well, I say that and then I literally see a bit more fighting. It's very, very minimal fighting, and, you know, typically not great for a siege march anyway. And to be honest, I don't need to be doing any more fighting right now. You can see my resources here. I'm very, very low on resources in terms of open resources, but don't worry guys, I've got a lot more in the bag if needs be. I've actually got 7 bill food, 8 bill wood, 5 bill stone and 4 bill gold, and actually 1.7 mil crystals, which I need to spend as well. Speed ups, however, only 100 days left. Now, I did start the KVK with around 350 to 400 days of universal speed ups, and obviously with probably 4 or 5 days of fighting in these two zones. You know, it's the same zone, zone 5, but two separate zones. You know, it's been very, very draining. Now, the reason a lot of us have just gone all out in these two zones is we don't expect Fire to do much more. Earth, they want to avoid Earth because they're not happy with the way they handled diplomacy, so they don't want to give them any kills, any fun this KVK. So I'm expecting when these new zones open, I'm expecting Fire to obviously go into here, which they will do, but when Pass 7 opens, they may just block Earth off, or they may not even fight at all. They may just disappear back to the starting zone. So it was important for us to get our kills straight away. We probably might get a few altar fights, hopefully. Obviously, Siege shining altar fights, so I can definitely cover a few altar fights with my resources and speed ups, no problem. Whether Wind will want some altar fights, obviously we don't know yet, but if they do, then that should be fairly easy though. I mean, that would be a great KP gain at least. Fire would be definitely tougher, or, you know, maybe Fire will pluck up the courage to go and attack Earth. not courage. They deliberately want to avoid Earth. Even though these two camps, Earth and Fire, are pretty even in power, really, and KP. Yeah, I'd say they're really equal in KP and power. So that would be a good match, but Fire should be fairly well drained after all the fighting we've done. So, more importantly, how am I doing for kills? And I'm actually 6th in my kingdom for kills. Now, it's not been easy for me as a siege main. So, siege maining can be very, very hard, and I'm actually need to put out another video of the struggles of being a siege main, basically, in a KVK like this. Backwards and forward balls are not our friends, and that has been a great struggle. But I have managed to get 36 million kills so far, and for me, that's pretty decent. You know, it's not far off my best ever, 42 mil, so I should be able to reach that quite easily, I'd say. And you know, I've hit 6 billion KP now. Started this with about 5.2 5.3 billion kill points, so that's a gain of 700 mil kill points. And my T5 kill to T4 ratio is crazy. So 2 million T4 kills this KVK and 34 million T5 kills. So we've not been fighting many T4 troops. That may be why the trades weren't crazy at all. You know, I've not had absolutely mad trades. I've saved a few. You know, these are some of my best, and trust me, there were not many of these at all. So yeah, these are very few and far between, and you know, not huge ratios. A lot of the time I got swarmed down and obviously killed, and that, you know, ruins your reports completely, but that's just the way it is. So mid-season review is this new thing, and I'm actually ranked 51 on there, 108 million points. You know, nowhere near some of the top guys up here with huge amounts of points, but for running 3 siege marches, I say I've done pretty well. Now, it has been costly, pretty costly, not as costly as some people I know in my kingdom that have got even less points. You know, they have spent a lot of resources for less kills, so I'm pretty happy with the trades I've taken. So let's take a look. So kill points, I'm rank 41 over here on the Autark point leaderboard, 174 mil, and heal points 112 mil. So, you know, not crazy trades on average, although, you know, 41 there, 90 here isn't too bad. Now deaths, I'm nowhere near 4 million points in that. Yeah, I don't tend to get a load of deaths. I can't really afford to kill too many troops, but I have killed 800k so far, a lot of them actually being siege. I need 200k siege. Now, I'll be honest with you, some of those times I did forget to heal my hospital. Okay, so I lost probably 70, 80, 90k siege from not healing my hospital, which isn't a great way to lose your units, but it happens. And another time I was stood next to a flag and I didn't realize the person rallying was actually in the same alliance. So yes, I did get pretty well hurt from that too, and that was shown in one of my other videos. Now, in terms of resources spent, I've spent nearly 15 bill resources, you know, not cheap. I will get 1.5 bill back so far. Now, again, guys, we've only had zone 5, so there's potentially still a bit more fighting to be done. Whether that will be the case or not, we just don't know with this KVK and the way Fire and Earth are. So, you know, it really, with us being allies with Earth, we should get to Kingsland. No problem at all. We beat Fire and Wind basically by ourselves. We didn't need Earth in the end. Now, I know when Fire and Earth, Fire and Wind, if they came together, then I think they would be too much for us. I mean, we should be pretty well drained, I think. I'm fairly well drained, but you know, I want to be drained at this stage because I don't expect a huge amount more of fighting, obviously. But yeah, that's a fairly decent amount of resources, and this is how it's split: 4 bill food, 4 bill wood, 3 bill stone, and 3 bill gold. And that's generally the mix you get for healing siege units, T5 siege units. I have thrown a little bit of T4 in there, but that hasn't really made much of a difference, I don't think. I'm not sure you save that many healing resources from using T4 really, because I think you just get more in the hospital, to be honest with you, but at least I do. Now, usually I'd go through the commanders and obviously just show you the amount of kills they've gotten in KVK, but I'm going to do that after KVK is finished, when the whole KVK is over, and see which March did best. I'm thinking my Margaret Gonzalo has done best so far. John and Steven seem to just get swarmed every time, and they die very, very quickly in a swarm and don't really trade that well at all in a swarm either. Whereas, you know, your Gaja and Baba can still get some decent results in a swarm, and Margaret Cordoba still, they don't do too badly in a swarm, and they've probably got a lot of kills before that too. Now Margaret has got the best gear on. She's got 3 crit pieces, whereas obviously my other marches haven't got any crit pieces. But I'm running 2 drums now, guys, so I did get another drum recently, and that's very, very useful. So, you know, boosting that rage, because I've got no horns as well, so I would like another drum on John. And, you know, maybe when I run a 4th march, I can get even another drum on there. You know, I've got plenty of Delane's amulets lying around as well. So that's a bit of a KVK overview so far. Obviously, we look forward to a little bit more fighting, you know, nothing crazy. Now, we were planning on obviously having a bit of a scuffle with Earth when we got to Kingsland, but I can't see that happening now, because obviously we don't really need what we're doing here. We don't really need any more fights as such. Like, you know, that was only going to happen if we had no fights, so I don't expect that. And, you know, whether that was actually on the cards anyway, I don't know. Whether that was a bit of a joke, I'm not entirely sure. So yeah, Fire aren't messing about now either, are they? So guys, yeah, that's the update so far. I hope you enjoyed the video, and obviously I'll be posting more videos very, very soon about obviously even more fighting and siege positioning, which I did mention on the last video, which I was going to do next, but obviously decided to do this one first just because it was a little bit easier, to be honest. I've got to piece a lot of footage together for the siege positioning, and there's a lot of information he's put on there. So guys, I will catch you on the next one. This is Mr. Siege, and bye bye.